interpretation. Well, every now and then, a debate pops up that threatens to break the internet. Remember that dress? The one where different people saw the same dress, but in different colors, whether it be white, gold, or blue and black. Well, we have a new one. It's not about colors, but sound. And there's a huge debate about a clip of audio and whether you hear Laurel or Yanni. Let's hear it.
Laurel, 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 Laurel.
To tell us more about the Yanni and Laurel debate is Lawrence Rosenblum, professor of psychology at the University of California, Riverside. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. I'm getting crazy here because this newsroom is split whether it's Laurel or Yanni. What about yourself? When you heard this audio clip, what did you hear?
I heard a very clear Laurel, and I cannot hear it any other way.
Okay, same here. We're on the same boat, Professor. So what does this mean? What does this mean in terms of the frequency of our brain and our hearing?
Well, the frequency of our brains, I'm sure, are just perfect. But I think that it says that there's actually two sets of information in the sound. One that is informative about Laurel, one that's informative about Yanni. And it can be heard in different ways depending on one's background, depending on one's age probably, depending on the sound system that you're listening over. All those things can come into play. What I think is particularly interesting about this one is how different the two sounds are.
Yeah.
And also we're finding, as much as I've been discussing this with people, that very few people can hear it one way and then the other. They're stuck on one way and one way only.
Okay, so if you hear Laurel, what does it say about your background or your age?
We don't know yet. That's one of the wonderful questions that this has already brought up. We don't know what kind of pushes people to hear it one way or the other. It's very much like that dress, where I don't think there's any firm conclusion on why people saw it one way or the other at first. We understand, what the information is that might be ambiguous in both of these types of stimuli, but we don't know what pushes people to hear it one way or the other, nor do we know what makes people stick just to one way or the other.
All right, whether it be Yanni or Laurel, is it possible to hear both at different times of the day, or when you listen, let's say, to another sound system or to another, let's say, computer speaker?
That's a very good question. I think many of us, at least the folks I've talked to and what I've been reading on the internet, are stuck on one or the other. However, my own son actually has kind of figured out a little way to help you hear both ways, and that's if you watch somebody mouthing one of the words or the other, it sometimes pushes people into hearing what they don't normally hear. The other thing that's been done, I looked on the internet this morning about this, is that you can actually, using a very simple computer program, change the pitch of the sound. And if it's a higher pitch, more people will hear Laurel. And if it's a lower pitch, more people will hear Yanni.
So, Professor, why do you think has this been done? And what can we learn about this Yanni and Laurel audio clip?
Yeah, well, I think it was probably done by mistake. I don't think anyone actually created it like this. And that's how most of these illusions are originally discovered. I've spent years studying an illusion called the McGurk effect, where what you see a person saying will affect what you hear them saying. And that was found by mistake. But that little illusion has led to a lot of discoveries about the brain, including the fact that the brain is really designed for things like multimodal perception, multisensory perception. And it's also been used to address things like aphasia, folks that have trouble with language, also people that are on the Asperger's autism spectrum. Sometimes it shows differently with those individuals. So you can never know. You can never know what these things will show.
All right, an audio illusion, Yanni and Laurel. The debate continues. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. Lawrence Rosenblum from the UC Riverside University in California.